going, guys? This is just a little build video called the Crimson Blood Pact. I hope you enjoy some footage what I have here. Just going to RR Citadel on Veteran and on Normal just to show you the sheer punishment what this build can withstand. Enjoy.
You have come farther than those feeble Undaunted, but you will fall just the same.
Set it ablaze!
Burn! You have come farther than those feeble Undaunted, but you will fall just the same.
Set it ablaze!
Light it!
Torches! Move! Light it up!
Burn!
Torches!
How's it going? Nifty here. So this is the Crimson Blood Pact. The reason why I came up with this build was, and the name for the build was the fact that we're running both Crimson sets on this build. And obviously, if you read here, the Crimson Twilight, it says after taking damage, you surround yourself in an 8-meter mist of blood. After 2 seconds, the mist is violently siphoned into your body, dealing bleed damage, nearby enemies, and healing you for 100% of the damage done. So, we're siphoning blood, right? So it's like a blood build. And I called it the Blood Pact because it's the pact between the two Crimson sets, which I thought was unique, cool, fun. It's just something that I liked and that I wanted to do. That also being said, I wanted to stay a little bit group orientated rather than being completely selfish with this build. I could have been way more selfish, and I could have had way more survivability. Um, but I chose that I wanted to be a little bit more group orientated still, so I could benefit the group a little bit better as well. Hence why we ended up going with the Crimson Oath, because that will shatter the enemy's armor, making their spell resistance, physical resistance, bringing that down for the group. And then obviously, Arch Druid uh, applies major vulnerability for 7 seconds, and the enemies what are inflicted by that take 10% additional damage. So Yeah, super nice, super handy, super cool. In terms of traits, let's do gear ratio. The gear ratio, I got medium on my helmet. I got one piece light on the shoulders, and we're in five-piece heavy. I do that for the undaunted passives. As go ahead and hop over into the undaunted. As you can see, we're gaining extra health, extra stamina, extra magicka, and then we're also increasing our max health, stamina, and magicka by 2%. So I'm currently getting a 6% bonus because of this. So it's super nice to have, right? That's why we went with that. In terms of my attributes, we are 8 into magicka, we got 26 into health, and we got 30 into stamina. That pushes my magicka up to 18.9 on my sword and board, and I got 40.8k health um, on my um, health tree, and then we've got 21.541 stamina. I've got 1742 mag recovery, got 1251 stam recovery. If you do take the H Knight Mundus, I will also show what you could do to make it a little bit more tankier if you really wanted to. Uh, but it's not really needed. I think the Atronach is kind of somewhat needed to a degree with this build. It really does benefit the build and it does help with the build. Um, in terms of our back bar, as you can see, we get more magicka. Okay, we get like 1,000 more mag. That's because we're rocking the staff. We do lose health and we do lose stamina. So just bear in mind that you will gain 1,000 mag just on the bat bar, which isn't a bad thing because if I need to block with my staff, I've got that extra 1,000 to block with. So it's not a downer in sense of block mitigation and resource management between ice staff and super nice. In terms of our blue tree, we're taking fight and finesse. This is also stacking with our feline ambush passives from the heat. As you can see here, we're getting 12% just anyway for being a Khajiit. So because we're getting 12% from a Khajiit, I'm then also getting 8% from this. That takes it to 20%. So the critical damage comes into play for like the DOT from Elemental Blockade. It'll come in for the DOT for the damage what you inflict with Crimson Twilight, and it will also apply to like light attacks, heavy attacks, of that nature. Okay, whether if you're on your ice staff or on your sword and board, it'll also clock into the bash. It'll make the bash do a little bit more extra chance of a critical hit. So yeah, that's nice to have terms of the other side of it, 20% healing. Oh boy, that is strong. So that's actually increasing all my critical heals from Echo and Vigor, from Refreshing Path, from Sanguine Altar, and from Dark Cloak, and from our last heal over time, which is our Leech and Strikes. So that's super, super strong, super nice, super handy to take. Definitely recommend it. Swift Renewal. This is increasing our healing over time. So it's increasing my Sanguine Altar, my Refreshing Path, my Echo and Vigor, and my Dark Cloak, and also Leech and Strikes. So that's super nice too. Real nice to use. Worth running. Unassailable. Unassailable is just reducing my damage by 6% overall from area effects. We also get this from Mirage on our back bar. We get 20% from this. So that's actually just taking that to 26%, which is just barbaric. Nice to have. Really cool. Also with Merge, we're also getting reduced cost to our next dodge roll by 10%, which is just nice. Up to a maximum of 100%. So whenever we take damage, we can actually get a free dodge roll with this ability, which is just nice. Nice to have. Um, and then we take Bulwark. Bulwark, all that's doing is it's increasing my physical and spell resistance by 1900 at all times. So I never lose that 1900. no matter what bar I'm on, it's just stacked. Okay, like it's there. Because it's just passively a flat percent 1900, providing that we either have the shortened boards equipped or an ice staff. In terms of my red tree, I take Binance Vitality. That increases my health. It just pushes my health up to 40k plus. Nice to have. We take Rejuvenation. Reason why I take Rejuvenation is just it keeps my recoveries up a little bit higher. That's just nice to have too. We do take Fortified for the extra armor. That helps with just overall resistance and how much damage we pressured with and just take overall. That's given us 1700 armor, so that's nice. And then I take Survival Instincts. Survival Instincts is just 25% flat reduced cost in skills. So it's just super nice to have that 25% cost. In terms of my green tree, I'm currently running Steve's Blessing, Rationer, Liquid Efficiency, and Treasure Hunter. Technically, you don't have to have Liquid Efficiency. That can be dropped for Homemaker. I was just trying to test the theory to see if it was worth running. In all honesty, I'm still kind of debating whether if it is worth or not. To be honest, I would personally just say run Homemaker. Um, that's kindly up to you. I think having Treasure Hunter and Homemaker kind of mandatory, same as Rationer. I think Steve's Blessing is your only other option for PvE for that extra movement outside of combat. So I think that's just your for what you would normally go with. But I wanted to test that liquid efficiency just to see if my pots would have that chance to not consume. And I don't really notice too much of a difference with it. I don't really see it procking too often. So I personally think that that 10% is so little that you're not going to miss it. Okay, that's just my honest opinion. That's actually going to be swapping out for Homemaker. Um, so yeah, I'm actually going to swap that now. We don't have any more Homemaker for liquid efficiency. Boom. Yeah. Yeah, I would just say run these for better off. In terms of traits, we are in a divine helmet. I think I've got three divines, four divines if we're including the shield. So one, two, three, four. Yeah, we got four divines. So I've got a divine's helmet, got divines on my waist, got divine on the shield, and boot. I then take reinforced on my chest and legs, and then my shoulders and my hands are both sturdy for the reduced cost of block. It's just nice to have and a little bit beneficial. Um, you're seeing that I am a vampire. Don't worry, this isn't based around a vampire build. You don't actually need vampire. I just am a vampire because I like to inflict people with vampirism. People often ask me if they want vampirism and they need vampirism. At least then I have an extra tune what can just go and bite them and jobs are good, right? So that's why I'm a vampire. H-Knock. As you can see, we got 1700 mag recovery. So if I take a nice little stroll all the way over to the other side of the base, we'll come up here and we can see the lady. So if I take the lady Mundus, alright, as you can see, I drop down to 1200 mag recovery. Okay. And I buff myself, I go to 1400 mag recovery and stand recovery. This really isn't that bad. You could probably actually get away with it. In return, as you can see, we're hitting cap on spell resistance and physical resistance are near enough closer to cap now. I would say you could run the lady and you'd be fine with this. I personally just run the H knock, and the reason why is a couple of reasons. So this guy is also a DPS for me, and I run that H on my DPS side. Um, so I just leave it as a. That's just my preference. But honestly, I would rock the lady if you weren't running H. If you feel like you need that extra recovery, go back to the H. But yeah, the lady will put you higher up to cap. So as you can see, we're at 34 on physical resistance, about 34 and a half. Then we're at 35.1 on the spell, which is insane. We are missing a ability morph, which is this one right here on our front bar. I'll cover right now as we're jumping in. So let's go ahead and jump into the skills. So on our main bar, on our sword and board, I have Dark Cloak. The Dark Cloak is a nice heal over time. Note that it says that you can get up to 150% more of a heal when you're not moving. So I can showcase this. So as you can see, we're getting 6.7. If I start moving, as you can see, it's dropped down to 2.6 because I'm moving. If I crit, it's a 4.5. Where if I stand still, we're getting 6, 7, and 11.3 on a crit. Okay. Gonna crit again. I'm gonna crit now that I'm now that I'm explaining it. There you go. It crit. I do. So yeah, super strong. When you're not moving. Once you've gathered everything and then you need them big heals, just kind of sit there and hold block and just mind your own business. It's really nice. Super nice. Our second ability on our main bar is Silver Lace. This is a fight skill ability. All this is doing is pulling the enemy to me, and if I can't pull that enemy, it will slow them by 30%. For 4 seconds. So just nice to have a single target pull. Um, it's kind of almost like every other class's version of chains, because obviously we're not all entitled like a DK to have a chain. Echo and Vigor. This is just nice. I took this morph realistically because I have more than enough resistances. I took this just for the fact that um, I want to help out the group a little bit more, give them some heals, help the healer, keep the group alive, sort of thing. So we take Echo and Vic. Just nice to have. Pierce armor, the sword and board ability. The reason why I take this over Ransack is because if you read Ransack, it gives you minor protection. I do not need minor protection because I'm getting minor protection already from my Dark Cloak, and it just needs to be slotted. I don't even need to use it, and I get minor protection. So therefore, we don't take Ransack, we take Pierce Armor. So instead of just getting Major Breach and Minor Protection, we're getting Minor Breach and Major Breach. So you're probably thinking, oh yeah, but you've got Ice Blockade on your back bar for Breach. We're not using it for the Minor Breach. We're using it just purely for the absorption of projectiles at this point, and the DOT and the slow. That's it. So it's still viable, even though that we're double stacking on the Minor Breach. Okay. Um, our last skill on our sword and board, this is a power slam. This really does come into providing on what you're running. So if I was running Cloud Rest, I wouldn't run Vatran. I'd run Puncturing Remedy. And then I would get rid of that and I would drop it for Absorb Missile because you would want that extra shield against Samaja, right? Um, if I was running something else, maybe I would run um you know, heroic slash instead. You could run that too. Um, with the puncher and remedy. It really does come down to like whatever you're running as content. But in terms of like dungeons and vet hard mode dungeons, which this build was centered around, you can just get away with Void Bash. You'll be fine. You'll be absolutely fine. Okay. Like I say, Shield War. This is not morphed currently. Sadly, I just wanted to really put this build out. I've been working like the last week or so trying to get this guy up to scratch, trying to get as much of it done, and it's stressful. Let's say that I had a lot of help today. From a couple of content creators, what I support, and and they said that they would help me on their stream, and they did, and I'm very appreciative of their help. You know who you are, and I appreciate you. So, because we've not got this morphed, it's holding us back a little bit, but not too dramatically. Obviously, when you morph it, take shield discipline. You don't want spell war. Spell war's more for PvP, where shield discipline is just purely for PvE. So yeah, take that one. That's the morph what we're gonna be going. This is actually a flex spot. So hear me out. If you're in a good group and you trust your group and you're in a really really good group, solid group, you can actually run Soul Harvest for that 10% ultimate gain. Okay. Um, and ult gain is huge. You could also run Dawnbreaker for the flawless Dawnbreaker to get all the ultimate from from the Fighters Guild stuff, right? Um, you'd get 3 ultimate from this. I would actually say Dawnbreaker is less than Soul Harvest. So I would say run Soul Harvest here instead. Um, but if you feel like you need to be a little bit more tanky and you're a little bit more self cautious about tanking, a little bit less experienced or whatever it may be, then feel free to go ahead and slot Shield Discipline. That will help you a lot. Okay, so that's super nice. Bat Bar, obviously we got Mirage. All that's doing is increasing my major evasion and giving me minor resolve, so it increases my physical and spell resistance by a minimal amount. But it also stacks up whenever we take damage, and we have that 10% chance of a reduced cost of a dodge roll. Blockade Frost. We're mainly just taking this for a little bit of partial damage over time, and we're taking it for the slow and the projectile mitigation, what we get from this. This goes around the whole entire group, so it's just nice to have that extra absorption for the group. Refreshing Path, this is just nice to have. It's doing a couple of things for us. Obviously, we're giving the group minor endurance, major expectation, minor endurance, and minor intellect, increasing their movement speed by 30%, as well as their stamina and magical recovery by 15%. Plus, if they're standing in the area, they're getting just under 1,000 health every 1 second, which is super strong, paired with obviously Echo and Vigor, then also paired with Sanguine Altar. It's just super, super nice amount of healing over time for the group. It's real, real nice. Obviously, our next skill, Sanguine Altar. The reason why I take that one over the other morph is if you read both morphs. So with Sanguine, it's costing me 2,200, but then it lasts for an extra 10 seconds. That also being said, we're getting the same amount of minor life steal, health per second. Okay. And I'm gaining 10 extra ticks of that. Okay. So we're gaining 6,300. So we're gaining 6,300 health for that extra duration. On top of that, we're also getting a 40% synergy for allies. I honestly believe that because that 10-second gap, I believe that 6,000 heal outweighs one, the cost of each ability, right? So like if you look at overflowing, it's 4100 versus the 2200. So we're already saving 2k health, just under, right? It's like 1800 something health. What we're saving to summon this. I honestly believe the 10 seconds to get that 6300 health um outweighs whatever we're getting from that 65% synergy. Um in my personal opinion. I just think it's the better morph. That's just my personal preference. By all means, if you want to run the other one, feel free. I'm not gonna tell you not to run it. It's entirely up to you. Our last skill on our bat bar is Leeching Strikes. This does a couple of things for us. Obviously it stacks up 10 times, and we get for each stack we get a 10% increasement of health. If I come down here and go and hit the little throw down here, so we're not getting any buffs or anything like that. So as you can see, every time I'm doing damage and whatnot, it's stacking the stacks up. Okay, doesn't matter if I'm on my front bar, back bar, the stacks are built, and then you get 10 stacks. So as you can see right now, I'm healing myself for 1,836 health per weapon attack. So if I hit a weapon attack, look, you can see doing 2k unless it's a critical hit. Heavy attacks do 2k unless it's a critical hit. Less chance to crit on a heavy attack than what light attack. Yeah, it just did it then. It's like 30, 32, 3300, something like that on a critical hit. So as you can see, we're getting like 3.5k hits on a crit hit, which is actually barbaric. you know, um, so that's consistently helping in the situation. That also said, because we're doing damage over time, as you can see, look, whenever we do any damage over time, we're getting them heals. Okay, that just persistently is ticking. There's additional healing for us as a tank, consistently just adding into that mix for our survivability. That also being said, if I'm really, really low on resources, um, spam some mag, dodge roll. All right, we're pretty low. I've got max stats. If I hit this, we get a big chunk back, right? And I can hit that a couple of times while I'm taking damage. It's not a problem, because stuff's gonna be stacking up, right? We're getting enough healing back to just hit it a couple of times. Just doing a couple of things for me. So yeah, that's just super, super, super nice to have. Obviously, typically you're not gonna use it for the 2000 stam and mag back. The reason why is your healer should be giving you whoops or shard, and then you would synergize that. Um, Another thing to note, people don't understand, but like if you read this, activating a synergy restores 4% of your max health, stamina, and magicka. That is humongous in fights, and people don't understand that. So use your synergy, folks, because it's really, really handy. But yeah, a decent healer will be throwing us orbs or shards or both. So typically we won't need to use Bane, but it is there if needed. Obviously, our Bat Bar ultimate. This is our bread and butter ultimate, really. This is the ult what I would typically normally give the group. Um, if I'm running group dungeons, it would just be aggressive. That gives the group major force, increasing their critical damage done by 20%. Note, as we are a Nightblade also, we are also giving the group minus savagery, increasing their weapon critical rating by 1300. And I'm pretty sure they get penetration passive. Can't remember. That was group orientated or me orientated. But the Nightblade's pretty jacked in passives. This one's really good for a fucking Nightblade. Like after drinking a potion, you get 20 ult. Yes, please, thank you. You know, great, absolutely great. It's fantastic. But yeah, that is pretty much the build, folks. I hope you enjoy this one. Let me know down in the comments down below if you wanted to know what that other set was, what I was going to run. Also, make sure to like, follow, comment, subscribe. It helps me a lot. I really do appreciate it. Also, one last thing, stay safe, have fun, all the best.